Tiugi varmaljan is mi strolling agus felcherod istak an will to gama. Kutog der honor duna jeha. How are you guys? Morning. We are having a pipe this morning of Star of the East. Needed a nice strong English this morning. Heavy Latakia. I think this is 50% Latakia. Anyway, enough of the pipe chat. We're having this Coronado. I wanted to talk to you guys about avoiding conflict, especially online. There's lots of trappings that we can come across that trigger us. You know, something feels directed towards us, or we feel that we need to interject or educate or teach somebody or give our opinions on something. And it can be avoided. If we learn the difference between, reacting and responding, that's a good one. But I had a small chitty chat through a textversation with a very good friend the other day who asked me a question about some guy posting something online and wanted my opinion about it. So after, a couple of texts, I realized that this information was pretty valuable to a wider audience. So I wrote down pretty much the notes of my text, and I wanted to share that with you guys today because I think it comes in very handy for when we deal with trolls, for when we deal with people that have just opposing opinions than our own. And we have to remember that someone's opinion is their opinion, and they're entitled to it. It doesn't make them right. And they're entitled to it, but I'm also entitled to dismiss them as fools. But I don't have to. Fantastic. Talk. So if you bear with me, I got some notes. Now, I'm not going to reveal who my friend was because that's not fair. Unless he chimes in and takes credit for asking me. Man, I love Latakia. Okay, so this is about a gentleman who posted a video online. My friend contacted me saying this guy posted this video. It's about, the Celts, and this guy has an opinion about Celtic polytheism, and it's uneducated and biased, and he feels that he's, doing more harm than good, this guy. So I should chime in and, say something on behalf of the culture. So I'm like, people can think what they want. To argue with someone who has no faculty of critical thinking is like administering medicine to the dead. Thomas Paine. The strong need not defend their stance to the weak-minded fools that have opposing opinions. And then he explained that, the issue with the vids is that they're public, and that, people in general they're going to absorb this type of rubbish. I said, let them. If they are as weak-minded as him, they belong on his side. You cannot educate the masses. It's petty and beneath me to even accept a debate from someone that is not intelligent enough to be on a common level of manners or etiquette. And he went on to say something along the lines that this information makes it harder, and it hinders people that are out there trying to look for correct information, that are trying to get educated on, on these topics, and when they come across his videos, that that could set them back. And I said, you can't change the mind or influence someone who will not indulge you or accept your information as even moderately objective. You're like, well, it's not really about them, it's more about his audience. I'm like, do you realize how much rubbish is out there on the Celts, on the Gael, let alone the Druids? You'd be better off emailing the 700 Club with hopes to convince them that Jesus was actually a Jew. And that's pretty funny. And as the conversation continued, he said, well, with that kind of attitude, nothing's ever going to change. I said, change doesn't happen on a large scale. It's kind of like a 1 to the 3. First, you have to be the change that you seek in the world kind of thing. And then you share that with 3 people, 5 people. And then they share it with 1 person. They share it with 3 people. This person shares it with 2 or 3 people. It branches out, it grows. That's how kind of influence and change happens. First, it's a realization, an epiphany, an inspiration, fire in the head, flower at the mouth, and then it's contagious. I said, it happens how we live our lives within context to our culture. It's how we share it in our real lives. It's by us being the example of our culture, us being the example of our gods, and us being the example of our own ancestors. You cannot teach or reach or even influence a mass audience. People don't want the truth. They want opinions that sound like the truth, that agree with what they've been programmed to accept. Their beliefs, once questioned, causes chaos, and people avoid conflict internally. People looking for the truth, they'll find answers because they are seekers, and they will remain objective. They will recognize rubbish from fact when they come across it. And the conversation kind of dwindled from there, but you kind of see where I'm coming from on how to avoid conflict. You don't have to indulge, waste your time, waste your energy trying to school somebody, trying to give your keyboard warrior opinions about, well, you're wrong and I'm going to show you why. They're not going to even accept it. You're not going to teach anybody anything. You're wasting your valuable time and energy. And even if you're doing it from an educated stance, you're not reacting, you're going to reply, you're going to give facts, you're going to give source material, you're going to give books, whatever you choose to do, it's falling on deaf ears. I mean, today is Easter. Try convincing Christians that this story is not new. Jesus rose from the dead. Okay, Jesus died on a cross and was born again and rose from the dead. Well, I'm sure we can look to Egypt for this one. I'm sure we can look to the Norse for this one. Ancient Samaria for this one. It's not a new story. It's a retelling of a very old story because, well, even as the Gnostic Christians, the ones that don't believe that Yeshua was actually a real human, that he is just a symbol. He's Christ. He's the anointed. They believe that, it's more of an alchemical thing about how do we be anointed? It's more like Buddhism. Try convincing pretty much any modern Christian of any denomination that their story is not new. They're not going to want to hear it. You cannot convince the masses. The same goes for the masses of any group. It doesn't have to be Christianity. Your time is better used, and your energy is better used doing something doing something constructive. I know this is a really bad example, but when we colonized, when white people, I should say, colonized, the original colonies here in the United States, did we ask Native Americans how they felt about us being there? No, there's handwriting in George Washington. There's George Washington's handwriting in notes that still exist that talk about eradicating them, burning their villages, killing the mothers, the children, burning the crops to wipe them out. We didn't ask for permission. This concept of Thanksgiving is a joke. So the point is that history always tells us that those in the positions of power, those in the positions of the know, or of in control, I should say, they don't bend to the weak. So if you know, number one, within your mind and with your logic, that your stance on this is pretty accurate, you leave room for error, but you know that this is solid material, and this person is giving rubbish, don't bother. Don't waste your time. It's not worth it. So, this has been your friend the Wren. Back again for another little nugget of words of wisdom. Save your time. Save your energy. Put it into something creative and have a good day. We'll be back soon. Well, I'll be back soon. I don't know about. Cheers. Slungafol.